Hey, what's going on, good people? In this video, we're going to be discussing a lady who just made a point that men have been making for decades now regarding consent rights.
So, have y'all seen this before? So, it looks like an older poster, but this is the first time I was seeing it. So, y'all look at this with me real quick, right? It says, Jake was drunk, Josie was drunk. Jake and Josie hooked up. Josie could not consent. The next day, Jake was charged. A woman who is intoxicated cannot give her legal consent. Okay? Y'all see the poster, right? I have some questions for legal TikTok. So let's break this down from the top. It says Jake was drunk, Josie was drunk. So they're starting off on equal footing, right? Then it says Jake and Josie hooked up. It doesn't say that anybody was passed out. It doesn't say that anybody was forced. It says Jake and Josie hooked up. Cool. Josie could not consent. How is it that Josie could not consent but Jake could? Like if they were both drunk. Somebody explain that part to me, because that's the part that I start to get lost, right? Let's go to the next part. The next day, Jake was charged. Okay. So even though they both hooked up, we're saying Josie could not consent. And because Josie could not consent, Jake was charged.
This sounds more like Josie got slut shamed or embarrassed the next day and just felt she needed to, at that point, lie on Jake.
And because Josie could not consent, Jake was charged. Let's look at the bottom. A woman who is intoxicated cannot give her legal consent. So are they saying that a man who is intoxicated can give his legal consent? Because that doesn't make sense to me. For a society that loves to cry equal rights and women's rights and feminism, how is it that in a situation like this, the two are not on equal footing? When again, it doesn't say that anyone was passed out. It doesn't say that anyone was forced. It says they were both drunk, but she could not give consent. So legally, I'm talking to anyone who has any kind of legal expertise, legal background. Legally, if they had woken up the next morning and he decided that he was taken advantage of in a vulnerable state, does he have the right to press charges? Or is it only the woman who has the right to press charges? Because that's not fair. That doesn't make sense. Him getting charged in that situation doesn't make sense because, again, they were both on equal footing. So I need somebody to break that down for me because it don't make sense.
That's a very interesting point that she just brought up, because it's truly sad if people look at the numbers of how many men's lives have been ruined by false accusations just like this. I think men need to find a way to protect themselves just like certain rock star men do. Remember when they were talking about Drake, before he sleeps with a woman, he get her on audio saying that, hey, he got consent to sleep with her.
So fast forward, I got off the plane, he had sent a private out to get me, but before I went inside his house, they made me sign an NDA. So I can't really say too much, but I had looked up my NDA rules, so I know what I can and can't say. You feel me? So when I get in the house, we just sitting on the couch, chilling, talking.
I'm not gonna touch you. Not until I have your written consent.
Guys, I think you need to audio record these women. Even when you've been drinking and you guys are having a good time, turn your audio on and do her just like Drake do these women. Because men, it looks like if you don't, you will wake up the next morning hungover and with handcuffs on your wrists.
What rights do you guys think that men have that women don't today?
Going out in public and not feeling like you're going to be harassed, whatever race, whatever gender, whatever, I mean, I know you guys just looked and you kind of like rolled your eyes, but I've been sexually assaulted, and by someone I didn't know and by someone I did know, and I have been approached in public areas, and my voice was not enough to tell them to stop.
Women, statistically, it's not even a competition. There's so much more of a struggle. We are so much more at harm than men, and it's not even an argument.
That's true, because we are women, and that our biology are making us like more vulnerable. So
my biology doesn't make me more susceptible to be attacked at night.
Well, no,
that's just being a woman because of
can I just
society
say
and
this?
people hate.
I just would like to say this. To me, that's framing it as women don't have the right to go outside without being assaulted. That's not true.
These women completely missed the question. He said rights, and they're talking mostly about how they feel.
No, that's not what I meant.
Well, that's why.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I think that of what happened to you is disgusting, and that person, the people who did that, need to be prosecuted. And I hope, and if they couldn't, they can't. And that's the horrible thing, and that should be talked about.
Overarchingly, men have the ability to go outside without fear.
Okay.
There are groups of men, especially black men, that do have fear of when they're driving, if there's a cop getting pulled over. But I'm saying that women overarchingly, I mean, how many women have, you know, stun guns or have mace or who have some sort of
that. You know, I understand because if I'm going on a date, I have everything.
Exactly.
I'm setting my location, so I'm not taking that away. But it was just like in the contrast to what his question.
And as a woman,
it was just like
society,
not good to
unfortunate
question.
society.
But you don't think it's a right that
you
men
have the right to
have
be safe.
have that safety and that innately and
have
women
that right.
don't? Or,
I feel like
Last concluding point on this side.
when you were saying that women can go in at night without having to be attacked, that's a people thing, and
Not a right that we don't.
yeah, that we can't.
You didn't really answer his question.
I think these women are confusing rights and certain fears that they have in their life, and those two things are different. It seems like a lot of feminists just want to play the role of a victim all the time. Women can get their license to carry a weapon if they feel some type of way when they walk down the road. Women have the power to protect themselves.
Women of color started the feminist movement. White women took it over and then excluded women of color from it.
white saviorism is a huge problem that happens, just not in the U.S., but all over the world. And with that comes the exclusion of everyone else. They look at themselves and say, oh, I am oppressed, but are failing to look at all of the intersectional, versions of women that are also oppressed in society.
I think even from the beginning, different groups of women have different problems, and I think even from the beginning, white women wanted to have the ability to work outside of the home. When black women, we were already working a lot, so we didn't have that same desire. So it's just like, I think some issues that may be beneficial to you guys, that you guys focus on, but it's not really beneficial for my communities. The separation of families are already very big in the black community, so I think certain messages of the feminist movement separates women from men.
Yeah, and I like that you talked about the history. It's really important. Like you said, it was if you think of slavery, we had feminists, and they actually risked their lives, and some of them had them taken. We marched knowing that some people didn't even think we were welcomed. We're all different. I can't know what you all go through. You can't know what I go through. And even if you are the same skin color, I still don't know completely what you go through, but I can have an understanding. And how can you have an understanding when it's never been the focal point?
Also,
But that's all I got in this video. You guys drop a comment down below and let me know what you think about the good point that this lady brought up regarding Jake and Josie being drunk. And we all know what happened to Jake. What would you guys tell other guys they can do to protect themselves against situations like this? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.